Broadcasting live and around the world. From Cabana One, the only podcast that's all ball bearings. Your ultimate source for everything Fletch.
Moon River. Whew. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
Laker Jim and his beat reporters will stop at nothing to make sure Fletch lives forever. They don't shower much. This is FletchCast.
Welcome, everybody, to a special holiday episode of FletchCast. I'm your host, Laker Jim. Now, Thanksgiving is this week, and I know you're going to be sitting around the dinner table with your family and your friends, and listen, some of them I know you don't get along with, you don't see eye to eye with, and things can get awkward. Well, I have the perfect icebreaker for that situation. Fletch. And I'll do one even better for you, because we have some breaking news that's going to be a hot topic around the Thanksgiving table. But before we get into the breaking news, I want to introduce, with me as always, the two strangers in my pants, Jake and Big Bob. Gentlemen.
Hello. Good evening, all.
So here's the reason for this special podcast. Now, I guess, guys, should we hit the spoiler alert alarm?
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Okay, so now we have some information that is not confirmed, but we got it from a very reputable source. Okay, so if you do not want anything spoiled or potentially spoiled about the Confess Fletch movie, skip this episode. Continue to download it with
Yes.
the sound off so we get the credit for the download. But
Maybe listen to it later on. Download,
Right.
but maybe skip it.
exactly, good
Yeah.
call. But you have been warned.
Now, should we say that where we got this information is not anybody that we normally associate with?
Exactly. We can assure you that this information did not come from Greg Mottola
Or the McDonald family.
or the McDonald family.
Right.
It did come at serious danger to Jake, though, from what I understand. He was really in back alleys and bad parts of neighborhoods, but he did come through big with this one.
Hey,
All right. So here is what you guys have been waiting for and what we've been dying to tell you. So John Hamm's girlfriend, Anna Osceola, will be in the movie Confess Fletch. And our sources tell us she will be playing Larry.
wow.
That's right, guys. Larry will be in Confess Fletch. Not confirmed, but pretty valid source has leaked this information to us. Guys, what do you think? Larry, she's back.
Can't have Fletch without Larry, except for Fletch lives. That is.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how this would fit in. We know Larry is not a character in the book,
Right.
but I'm just trying to figure out, I guess, then by association, we would assume that John Slattery is playing the Frank character as
Correct.
well, even though Frank technically is the editor for the paper in LA, not in Boston, where this picture is set, and the book too.
But we've seen John Slattery and John Hamm together in a newsroom type of situation. Those photos have leaked.
Mhm.
So we're just assuming if he's not Frank, he's probably John Hamm's editor or someone in charge of Fletch in the Boston area.
The book, he talks to his editor, his former editor. His name is Jack Saunders. So it's got to be between one of those. It's either got to be the Frank character or the Jack Saunders character from the book. Has to be.
Now, when Greg Mottola, and again, Greg Mottola has not confirmed or denied this. We haven't
We've
asked
never
him.
even asked him.
Yeah, we haven't even asked him. So,
Right.
certainly has not denied it. But this could be those little tidbits that he said he's not yet ready to reveal.
Right.
That he was kind of excited that they sprinkled in. And listen, any Fletch fan watching it who might not be listening to this podcast, to hear him refer to somebody as Larry and then all of a sudden she comes onto the screen or whatever, that's going to be a pretty cool surprise in the movie.
That's going to get your Fletch senses tingling, to say the least, to hear the name Larry. It's almost as much as hearing the Fault of Mine.
Now, there's not much that we know about Anna Osceola. I mean, only that he met her on the set of Mad Men.
Now we have 3 Mad Men alumni between John Slattery, John Hamm, and Ann Osceola.
Right. She appeared in the Mad Men finale.
I'm not familiar with her at all. Just what you guys have told me up to now.
But listen, she's cute as a button. She's got the reddish brown hair that Larry has. Her body, we all can easily fall in love with this body.
Love your body, Larry.
That's true.
A smile that can light up any newsroom.
That's kind of the perfect role to throw her into. Even if there's just a quick reference to her,
Sure.
Maybe he calls her on the phone. You know, it'd be interesting to see how they work her in. Maybe she's working in Boston, you know, now, and somehow he bumps into her at the paper.
Well, maybe they're going to switch all that to Boston. I mean, maybe Boston will be more of a home base instead of LA, which is definitely possible, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Because the next book in the sequence would be Fletch's Fortune. And there actually is a part in the book where he reaches out again to Jack Saunders in Boston when he's at this journalism convention in Virginia. But, you know, you could write a scene. It doesn't
Sure.
Fit the book and the movie, page by page. So you could easily write more scenes with those characters in it.
I know it's not the 1980s anymore. It's not the 1980s anymore, right, Laker John?
Not as far as you know.
But how great is it that you have Fletch, the diehard Laker fan, stuck in Boston?
Oh, that's a good point.
Their arch rival.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know, that really is going to really play well into the whole personality of Fletch being, abrasive and whatnot that we've seen in the past, lovably abrasive. But being a Laker fan in Boston is going to be possibly a great angle to play on for the movie itself.
Yeah, and we've seen production pictures with him with the Lakers hat on, so he's definitely in enemy territory. Yeah,
yep, absolutely. So we know it's coming. It's coming.
Well, I mean, this is neat.
Okay, so we know Anna Osceola is going to now revise the Larry character that Gina Davis made famous in the first movie, Fletch. But we also got some information about Kyle MacLachlan's character. Now, we already kind of figured out who he was going to be, but Jake, why don't you give us a little information about what we discovered today?
Yes, and he is definitely playing the Haran character.
We announced Roy Wood Jr. We were playing Detective Monroe.
Yes, which is the substitute for Flynn, who won't be in the movie. But Haran back to Kyle MacLachlan though, Haran is a pretty big character. It's definitely someone that I would say it's one of Fletch's biggest adversaries in the book is Haran. He plays a big part in the plot.
Marcia Gay Harden playing the Countess. She's a big actor. She's an award-winning actress.
Yeah, she's great.
I imagine that, that's a huge get for them as well. But how important of a character is the Countess to it? Okay, so what happens is the reason Fletch is in Boston is that his fiance. Now, LJ, we know who the girl is who's playing his Italian girlfriend, right? Do we have that information?
Yes, Lorenza Izzo.
Okay, so she's playing Angela or Andy, as she's called in the book, her nickname. So the Countess is Andy's stepmother, married to her father. Well, her father has deceased, and what has happened, his art collection has gone missing. And there was rumor that it is in the States somewhere. So, and since her father, Andy's father, Fletch's girlfriend, has passed away, Fletch has now come back to the States because Fletch is actually living in Italy with Andy. So he flies to the States to try to find this art collection for Andy and, her family. Well, the Countess is, money grabbing and wants a piece of the action, piece of this art fortune. So eventually she follows Fletch to Boston, and then things unravel from there. So the Countess actually gets a piece of the action as opposed to Fat Sam, who just gets free junk. Well, yes, that's right. Yeah, and when we say action, it's definitely in more ways than one. At least when it comes to the book. So, but we'll leave it at that.
And when it comes to Fletch.
Yeah, when it comes to Fletch, right. Fletch's morals sometimes are a little questionable, but we still love the guy, don't we?
Of course.
Yes. Now, listening to the audiobook, the narrator, Dan John Miller, who narrates all the Fletch books, presents the Countess with a very heavy accent. Is that true in the book as well? Do you read it that way?
Yeah, and the book's like that too. Yeah. You're exactly right. Like a very thick, I would assume, Italian accent.
Yeah. Hey guys, listen, I have something I want to read you real fast, okay? Just you know how there's always a little storyline right up about the movie itself, and one word springs to my attention. I want to run it by you. So the storyline write up says, after becoming the prime suspect of multiple murders, Fletch strives to prove his innocence while simultaneously searching for his fiance's stolen art collection.
Oh, that's right.
So
They are engaged.
Okay,
That is
that's
accurate.
a big.
Yes, they are engaged.
Now, Jake, what about the part that says multiple murders?
You know what? That stands out too because there wasn't multiple murders. There's only one in the book. Yeah.
Now, Jake, who from this movie will or would carry on to the next portion of the story in the next book?
Nobody except for Fletch.
Okay.
The Countess isn't back. I don't want to spoil too much in case we get a sequel, but I mean, the Jack Saunders character comes back if that's in fact who John Slattery is playing.
Now, does John Slattery usually wear a beard?
Not that I've ever seen.
Does anyone know?
Not that I know of. But guess who does? Frank has a beard.
Right. And you know what he has in this movie? A beard.
And glasses.
So, has he done this look for Frank? We'll find out. Frank is somebody that I think will move on with him in the next book, Jake.
Yeah.
I think like
in some way they'll make it happen.
Some way they'll take these two characters who obviously have worked so well together in Mad Men. I think they'll be the kind of the consistent travelers through the Mottola universe.
Yes.
Yeah. If the behind the scenes production stills did not include John Hamm with John Slattery, then I would think that, okay, well, maybe he calls Frank in LA and maybe Larry is there with Frank.
Yes.
Or maybe he just calls Larry in general to get information that he's constantly using Larry as someone to lean on for help.
It's fun to speculate because that's all we're really doing right now.
It's fun to find out.
And also, too, keep in mind, Larry is owned by Universal. She's the character that was created for the movie Fletch. She's not in any of the books. When you buy the rights to the books, you don't necessarily buy the rights to the movie characters that Universal created.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see, is this truth? Is this rumor? It's nice to speculate, though.
I go back to a point I've made in previous episodes. Universal would be foolish not to give those out because in the end, they will only profit from the previous incarnations, because then people will be interested in the previous movies and will purchase them, whether it be DVD or streaming. So I think it's a win-win for both of them.
Yeah, definitely. Hey guys, one thing I wanted to bring up, we posted on social media recently because in the last episode, we touched on some of the cut scenes between Fletch and Tommy Lasorda and also Fletch in the hockey mask. Now, we posted the hockey mask images today. And
yes,
I have to make reference to a theory that a Fletch fan has. His name is Carl Coverdale. And what he brought up was, this is probably not a dream sequence because, like we said, that would be in 3 dream sequences where Fletch is, playing sports for an LA team. According to, Carl's theory, this could be maybe after he's, his life has been threatened by the chief. Maybe he is in disguise going into the newspaper building. You know what I mean? He disguises himself as a hockey player to sort of not be recognized as Fletch. Maybe the cops are after him.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially since in one of the photos, Larry's helping him out of the costume and everything. I think that's definitely not a dream.
Plus, one of the stills, Fletch is sitting on his desk. He looks so pissed off. Larry is sort of consoling him. And Frank is giving who, me? Who, me?
Frank looks like he's asking him how much, who's paying for this.
And Frank's the one who tipped off the cops to begin with. So Fletch is probably
right. So it almost seems like it could possibly have been an alternate scene to, how could you call them?
Fletch, I'm sorry.
Kind of giving that gesture hey, kind of thing. And Fletch just looks so annoyed. So that makes a lot of sense. And I've never really thought of that angle.
It's a good theory
of him. And it's funny because a Fletch disguise or couldn't he be gaining more attention? I don't know if you guys saw the one I posted where he's walking down the street, literally in the full goalie outfit. He's got the pads on his legs. He's even got skates on, and he's walking down the streets. He's walking.
Everyone is a little freaked out.
Everybody is
slightly out of place.
Right? So if he was trying to be inconspicuous and undercover, just total fail. Yeah. And one thing also to note, he's not wearing number 99, which he wears as a Dodger and a Laker. He's wearing number 31 for the Kings.
And we actually posted a couple of pictures from that Dodgers scene too. And there were a couple of them that I haven't seen either for a long time or haven't seen at all.
Yeah.
Because he's actually surrounded by the Yankee team.
Yes.
Which I hadn't. And then we had like a behind the scenes picture too. Peter Douglas was in that shot.
Kirk Douglas.
So there were some other, Kirk Douglas. There was definitely some other, a shot that I hadn't seen.
So Bob, you actually had a theory, and maybe somebody out there can help us. Like when you saw the picture of Fletch standing with the Yankees, you thought you recognized one of the people playing one of the Yankee players.
First and foremost, that 31 has got to be, being he's wearing purple and gold, that's got to be a Kurt Rambis.
Shout out to Kurt Rambis.
But one of the things I noticed, now this would have taken place in 1985. This is just a year before WrestleMania 3. One of the people next to Chevy is, there's no mistaking, that's Haiti Kid from WrestleMania 3.
Right. He bears a striking resemblance to.
It's got to be him. I mean, I have turned every stone trying to track down Haiti Kid on social media. Now I'm a little concerned that I might have not been tracking down the right person, but yeah, it's got to be him. I mean, the time frames line up in the mid '80s to where his popularity soared when he made it to WrestleMania 3. He tagged with Haiti Kid along with Little Beaver and Hillbilly Jim versus King Kong Bundy, Lord Littlebrook, and Little Tokyo, for those that actually care or want to look it up. But it was WrestleMania 3. It was the mixed tag match, and that is him. Now, if anybody out there has any way to confirm this, we would love to hear about it.
Yeah, if anybody, because the Haiti Kid is still alive. And I would imagine at that time there was a very small group of like probably little people actors or whatever, like an agency almost that like
absolutely.
If you need a little person for a movie or a wrestling event or something, you went to this organization. Same thing they had with Star Wars. There was an ugly agency. If you need a real ugly guy,
a lot of them were stuntmen. A lot of them were stuntmen. A lot of them were actors. So they did it all.
So Fletch fans, if anyone out there knows a way to get in touch with the Haiti Kid, now he's not somebody that I've found on social media, but he could be the key and the link to what happens in this scene.
Yeah, his real name is Raymond Kessler, Kessler. So yeah, if anybody has any information, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, this could be our first link into what happened during that
lost piece of history.
You know what we should do? We should get him on the show.
We should get him on the show. We can contact him so we can get him on the show.
I've been waiting for that for 24 hours. Yeah, I mean, if we can, we will. If anybody knows how to find him, we want him on the show.
Why don't we jump into a couple other segments that we have planned for this week? Fletch Pop Culture. What do we got as far as Fletch pop culture references? Any pop culture references out there that the fans should know about?
We have a lot of Fletch pop culture references. Every time you turn around, there's a new one. But going back to an older one this week, Family Guy, TV show rather that's been playing for over 20 years. Now they've had a few. Seth MacFarlane is obviously a huge Chevy Chase fan because he's referenced him multiple times, whether it be Vacation or one of his other movies. But in this case, episode called I Am Peter, Hear Me Roar, is the first time we ever saw a Fletch reference in Family Guy. There's a sign outside. A lot of times they have little, it's kind of like an exterior shot on the board outside that they have written Dyslexic Film Society will be holding a showing of Chevy Chase's film Fletch, F-E-L. Now, I don't know. Listen, I don't want any children that are listening to this podcast to go Googling what Fletch means, but Trust me when I tell you, it's not a good thing.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Obviously referring to Fletch. Now, the second one was the big one, though. The second one we saw many seasons later, 2011, an episode called Seahorse Seashell Party. They had an episode where the family was stuck inside the house, power going on and off, don't have any television, don't have any internet. So they decided to play charades. And James, do you have a clip of this?
Yeah, let's take a listen.
Yeah, this sucks. What are we supposed to do all day?
Well, how about we play charades?
Oh, yeah, okay, me first. Okay, it's a movie, all right? Movie.
Peter, there's no talking in charades.
Okay, sorry. Okay, movie.
Peter!
Sorry. Okay, one word.
Peter, you're still talking.
Okay, right. Fletch.
Is it Fletch?
It is Fletch.
That's awesome.
Oh, man, that's good.
In true Peter Griffin form, instead of understanding how the game is played, he just gives away what the answer to the question is. And that pretty much that's it, and we're looking forward to more.
Yeah, second week in a row with multiple Fletch references within the same show. You got to love that. You got to love that Fletch is being given respect out there in the pop culture world. Thanks, Bob. We'll hear more from you next week with another pop culture Fletch reference.
Fletch pop culture.
Ooh, the voicemail hotline is actually ringing as we speak.
And speaking of voicemails, we've got voicemails this week, right?
We have voicemails.
Oh,
Let's jump right into the voicemails.
Hey, it's Josh from Pacific, California calling. Thanks for putting the podcast together. This is greatly appreciated content. Question. So the Faltermeyer soundtracks for the first two Fletch movies are like such a huge part of the movie, like up there in importance with the cast themselves. Just completely defined. I want to see if you'd heard anything about what kind of treatment the new reboot's going to be getting, like who's in charge of sound and what kind of, what kind of music they're planning for it. There's not moments out there I could find. All right, well, thanks so much. Always Quaker State, never press down.
What did he say? Always Quaker State, never press down? I like that.
Yeah.
Good call, Josh. Listen, it's something we talk about on a regular basis about the inclusion of the Faltermeyer theme. It's we feel like it's so vital to linking the old movies to the new movies, and it just would be such a gift to the Fletch fan.
I get chills. I would get chills if I hear it.
Let me tell you something. I have news that actually I just got today about the score.
Breaking news.
So Greg Mottola messaged me and he said, things are going well with the movie. And he actually says he's going to London in a few weeks to watch David Arnold record the score for Confess Fletch.
Oh, okay.
He said, I worked with him before on a movie called Paul. You guys remember that movie?
That was the Alien movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, Alien movie. I've seen it once. It was funny movie.
So that is the composer for the score of Confess Fletch. But that's all he says. We don't know what will be in that score.
Right. Obviously, Faltermeyer scored the first movie, but yet there were other songs from other people on the soundtrack as well.
Right. And then the second movie
covered that in an
was
episode.
all Faltermeyer, was all score.
Yes. Him. Good call, Josh.
But there you go.
And that unveiled some breaking information. Good job,
yes.
Jake and Josh, for the call.
This is pretty awesome. That's all I got to say. Thank you. This is Jason from San Diego.
All right, Jason, thank you from San Diego. Short and sweet, but we certainly appreciate the compliment. We work really hard on the podcast, so it's really good to hear from the people listening that think we're doing an awesome job.
Hi, this is William calling from Tucson, Arizona, and I am really digging your guys' podcast. I've been listening in here since episode 2, and not quite Fletch related, but speaking of impersonations and Chevy Chase, I had wondered if any of you had seen the Netflix movie A Stupid and Futile Gesture, where they have Chevy Chase in the film portrayed by Joel McHale. And he does a pretty spot-on Chevy Chase impersonation. And I just think of it when I think of Fletch and of people, we've been talking about the actor that will be playing John Hamm playing him in the movie. and of Chevy Chase people that can pull off a Chevy Chase. And I love watching him in that film portraying Chevy in a Futile and Stupid Gesture, which is the story of the National Lampoon. Anyway, it's somebody who could have pulled off a real Fletch-like character. Have a good one. Keep up the great work. Really like your guys' podcast.
Well, thank you, William. And Joel McHale, there's a lot of people that could have done a good Chevy impersonation of Fletch, but I think that would have been a dead end street. I think I don't think as good a Chevy impersonation as you can do. I don't think people would have accepted that as Fletch. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, this is now like the third time I've heard this mentioned that I never heard of it up until last month.
Joel McHale does do a good Chevy impression. Now, Joel McHale obviously worked with Chevy on the show Community.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the greatest relationship. That Chevy kind of turned off the whole cast. But I did see an interview with Joel McHale, and even though they have said like plenty of negative stuff about each other, Joel McHale did call Chevy and tell him that he would be playing him in this movie. And Chevy, I can't remember what his exact response was, but Chevy was like, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. But he even though he really hates Chevy, I think he had the decency to call him and tell him.
But I think Joel McHale would have been a good Fletch.
Yeah, I think so. I think he could have been a good Fletch without impersonating Chevy. He could have just been the Joel McHale.
Because he's got the look, and he probably would have been. I never really thought of him as Fletch, but yeah, he could have pulled it off.
I just confirmed too that this movie is still on Netflix, and strangely enough, you know how Netflix gives you recommendations.
Yes.
Underneath that movie, there's a recommendation for a movie called The Last Laugh, 2019, starring none other than Chevy Chase.
Oh, is Dreyfuss in that too?
Yeah.
Dreyfuss is in that. Yeah, I watched part of that.
Oh, you watched
part of
it's okay.
Yeah, Chevy has two parts in it, like kind of he bookends almost the movie, and he's himself kind of in it.
All right, I'll have to check both of those out.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for that call.
Good call.
Good call, William.
Hi, my name's Alana, and I'm from New Jersey, and I just want to say I love your body, Larry.
That was awesome.
Absolutely.
Alana, thank you. It makes me feel good when I hear female listeners call in. I actually get it a lot.
Especially from New Jersey.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think that.
Land that I love.
Where is this girl? Well, we love your body, Alana. Thanks for the call.
And hopefully she's not skating on thin ice.
No. We definitely love her call more than anything else.
Yeah, this is Dave Hanrahan, Junior Audit Manager of the Securities and Exchange Commission. I just want to go on record. I am not a pederast. I've been married 44 goddamn years. I have 3 children. We don't even have anyone by the name of Poole working here. Another person slanders me. I'll sue your asses for $1 million. Thank you.
Oh, that was awesome.
Well, Mr. Hanahan, we mean no offense. We mean no offense by anything we said. Thank you so much for your call.
Well, it wasn't so much what we said. It was what Mr. Poon said in the movie,
Oh my gosh, that was great.
I hope that
Poon's getting us in trouble.
I hope that guy's not in too much trouble from what Mr. Poon did.
We said, I'll sue your ass for $1 million. We don't have $1 million.
No, never.
Do you have caviar? Si, senor. Beluga. But it's $100 a portion. Oh, then I better just take 2 of those.
That's a little disturbing, but good.
This is what our voicemail was meant for.
That was great too.
Yes.
This is awesome.
That's it for the voicemail.
Folks, please, by all means, keep those little
please.
fun phone calls coming in and phone calls of any type, but those are great.
Definitely. And if anybody would like to call, the number is 267-714-6799. That's the FletchCast hotline. It's a voicemail. Just call it at any time of the day or night. If you mess up, call back. We'll do it again. And we could be listening to you on a future podcast. So, fans, we're going to put up a poll on Twitter, and we want you to head over to @IamFletchCast. That's the letter I, the letter M, FletchCast. And we want you to vote on the next character spotlight that we do in the records room. Now, your options are going to be A, Gillette, B, Gummy, and C, Ted Underhill. Head on over to Twitter. We'll put links on Facebook and Instagram as well to direct you over to our Twitter poll. So it'll be exciting to have the fans spotlight who they want to hear on the show. Before we go, I have a little bit of Laker Jim breaking news for you guys. So
let's do it.
Announcing here on the podcast first, I'm going to be a dad again.
Wow! Congratulations.
Yep, we're pregnant. We're doing April, and we have one daughter who's 3 years old. But aside from this big announcement, I also did some undercover recording of me talking to my girlfriend Marta about the pregnancy. Take a listen. All right.
Oh, I want to hear this.
Hey, babe, you busy? Can I ask you something?
No, go ahead.
All right, listen. If it's a boy, would you at all consider the name Fletch?
No.
Why?
What do you mean why?
What about as a middle name?
No.
What about Fletcher?
That's even worse. No.
Can we just call him Fletch?
No.
The author's son named his kid after a Fletch character, and I think this can catapult me past him.
Don't even try that. Name a dog Fletch.
We can get a dog?
No.
Oh no.
Okay, so there you are. But the breaking news. I really tried.
Well, you didn't even ask about Irwin or Maurice. You went right to Fletcher.
You also assumed it has to be a boy's name.
That's a great point. I'm going to go back when I record it tonight, and I'll let you know what she says about the girl.
That's great, though, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Listen, congratulations. We're all thrilled. And more importantly, you need to get a dog now named Fletch. It's long overdue.
So that about wraps up this special holiday edition of FletchCast. Man, there was a lot of breaking news in this episode. This was a good one. From the bottom of our hearts, we just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. Thank you for helping us spread the word. You've launched us into the top 10% of podcasts in only a month and a half. Truly spectacular, and we have you to thank for it. We want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Dynasty's on a rerun this week, so enjoy the time with your family. We'll see you.